mark your slide on the Troutdale 1921 ice storm is probably the reason Matt Glajewski warned me not to move there when I was looking at a house there. He was like, Tanya, it's beautiful, it's a great little place in the summer, but, and he's right, yeah, between the wind and the rest of it. So, yeah, I'm here today. I'm actually with the National AMS. I'm the incoming commissioner for the Weather, Water, and Climate Enterprise, so that's technically what I'm going to call myself being here today. But my other routine duties are certainly with the Weather Service. All right, currently, what is happening with the ENSO state? If you, I hope most of you are familiar with this, but there's 4 regions in the ocean that have sensors and data that we monitor. The yellow region is Nino 4. The red region is Nino 3. The black box is Nino 3.4. And then there's Nino 1 and 2. Nino 1 and 2 are usually the ones that are the slowest to respond. So as we go back a year, you can see what was happening around this time. We were all talking about things. Nino 4 was warmer. Nino 3.4 was colder. Nino 3 was colder. Nino 1 and 2. Nino 1 and 2, you know, went through some little phases, kind of warmed up. But what we really want to look at is what's been happening the last few months. And you can see Nino 4 is getting colder. Nino 3.4 is getting colder. Nino 3 is getting colder and then a little warmer again. And Nino 1 and 2 is fluctuating in that colder level. So currently, they have to be 0.5 degrees Celsius below normal for it to be called a La Nina. And it has to be for 3 consecutive months. So like Mark mentioned, I'm calling last year La Nina light. I thought it was a La Nina until I went and looked at the data to put this presentation together. I'm like, wait a minute, there's a year missing. And then I looked and I'm like, oh, we didn't quite make it last year. All right, so the prediction for this winter that came out 2 days ago shows that the blue line, September, October, November, December, is La Nina. And then neutral is gray. So the blue line continues to dominate until the winter months are over. And we always say winter weather outlook. For me, again, you saw my background that he just mentioned. High Plains, winter starts like October 1st and it doesn't end until April 30th, right? But technically winter is December, January, and February. So at that point, we kind of transition and we come back to neutral conditions in that December, January, February, March time frame. And then kind of back to neutral all the way into next summer. So we'll see. It could be another La Nina light year for us. So let's take a look at past week La Nina years. There's 12 of them. If you eyeball this, which I kind of did to get this data here, you know, in the Pacific Northwest in general, there were 6 winters that were below normal. 5 were above, and 1 was near normal. So like, you know, 50-50 almost, right? It's kind of the crapshoot here. Which one are we going to get? And then the same with precipitation. You can see some years were extremely dry, like, whoa, what, this one to this one, that's a big contrast. Like, I haven't had a chance to dig into what the differences were. That would be kind of fun to do. But you can see it's either all or nothing here with precipitation, except this year here. It looked like Washington did a little bit better while Oregon did not do quite as well. All right, this is for the weather geeks. I think Bobby said weather nerd earlier, but we're geeks. We're geeks. Just want to put that out there. I geeked out. I wanted to look, so I went back 10 years and I pulled up all the climate outlooks I could find, and I actually had to use ChatGPT to do that. It took a while to dig some of this out. But looking back, water year 16, the forecast was near normal to slightly drier. Okay, so the brown line, this is the precipitation, this is what's normal, and it said slightly drier. And we were well above normal. Okay, that was an El Nino plus year. That was a pretty strong El Nino year. All right, another weak La Nina year. We forecast slightly wetter. I don't know about you, but let's see, that's 36 inches to 52 inches. That's a lot wetter in my mind. Another weak La Nina year here in water year 18, and again, the opposite happened. So instead of being near normal, we were almost, 6 or 7 inches below normal here in Portland. So it's just kind of fun. I'm not going to go through each of these. This one here, I'm going to call it El Nino light, and this is my La Nina light. It was close, but just not quite long enough to make it. So when we talk about these predictions, you're going to see, slightly wetter, it was drier. Slightly wetter, okay, it was probably a lot wetter. This one here, slightly wetter, nope, ended up slightly drier. And here we go, equal chances, it was pretty darn close. And last year the forecast was for wetter, and we ended up just slightly below here at Portland. So I'd say take these with a grain of salt. It's fun to talk about the outlooks, but the bread and butter is in the next 7 days, right? So, all right, still geeking out here. Lots of data, lots of information here. So when I went back and looked at the snowfall in those 12 years, and I added the La Nina light just for fun. So we have 13 years here. When you ask me how much snowfall are we going to get, my answer is we could get none, or we could get 2 feet. Okay, that's the range I'm going to give you. We're either not going to get anything, or it's going to be 2 feet. And I heard some of you, when you walked in the door, I heard a couple of voices going, I love snow! You have not lived in the high plains. All right, here's one thing I found interesting. So 2008 and 9, I talked to Colby from our office, and we went back. This was right before Christmas, a big, huge storm that hit. Most of that snow fell in that storm. But when you look at the year, okay, this is your average precipitation for the water year, and this is what happened that year. We ended up way below normal overall, even though we had this huge, massive storm in December. So, again, averages, normals, what's right in front of you? What's in the white of our eyes? And that's what we really need to focus on. So, climate predictions can have skill in predicting seasonal totals and averages. They can have some skill, but you just saw 10 years where it was kind of iffy, right? Most impacts are associated with the short duration storm systems that we cannot predict more than a week or 2 out, regardless of what some private sector companies try to tell you. All right, I saw this last night and I just had to laugh. Here's your winter weather outlook. No one has any idea. All right, so officially, Climate Prediction Center updated their outlook. I put my little pin here right in downtown Portland, and we can't get any closer to this line. So if you look at the pie chart probabilities that we have here, 33% chance above, 34% chance below, and 33% chance near normal. Who's going to bet on that? Who's going to bet on it? All right, precipitation just a little bit better. 36% chance above normal, 31% chance below, and 33% near normal. Anybody putting money on it? Bobby is. Bobby's got it.
Every year.
Every year, yep. So as we go through the 3-month time step all the way through the spring, you can see here December, January, February, March, February, March, April. All right, so we do trend overall, I'm going to say Portland now, not Oregon. Oregon itself is right there. It could be anything. A little cooler maybe, except for the south, who knows. To me, this is really too close to call. And then we actually go back to kind of the warmer than normal temperatures by the time we get into the summer time frame. So, I don't put any stake in my personal life on what these outlooks show. I don't, but I'm always prepared. I always have something in my car, my vehicles, my home. You always have to be prepared. All right, here's the precipitation outlooks. Now, if you like skiing in Montana, this sounds good to me. December, January, February, we've got the trend kind of just misses most of Oregon as we trend out of winter into early spring, and again, kind of misses us. And this year in April, we went downhill very, very quickly. Mark talked about the precipitation that they had out in Astoria, and I think he mentioned 6 inches in Oahu. You know what? Astoria had its driest year on record for the summer time frame since 1956. So Something to think about. So I just thought, you know, what kind of terms? Don't put your eggs all in one basket. I thought there's got to be some new ones we can use. So there's the Oregon quarter. You can flip a coin, right? But don't bet the farm on any of this. Spread your risk. You should always spread your risk. Never tie a single rope to your boat. One string alone does not make music, and a wise sailor doesn't depend on one wind. Some truth in that, right? So, my big thing here is, we're talking outlooks, but really, are you ready? Okay? When I was in Montana, I played this 30 days, 30 ways game that Cressa hosted online on social media. And it was every day you had to do something to be prepared. And I ended up winning this kit. Little did I know I'd move here and they'd be my partners that we work with. But I did clean this out last fall. I took all the old stuff out, put all new in there. I restocked it. I have a bigger kit in my car, and the only thing I got called on by Corey Mishevitz from PBEM, he's their emergency manager, was I didn't have chains in my car. And I'm like, I lived in the high plains for 30 years. What do I need chains for? And I'm like, February 22nd, 2023. All right, so I went and bought chains. Those are in the car too. So, how many of you have a kit in your car? Gail, you better. All right, if you don't, start thinking about this right now. First aid kit in your car and a survival kit in your car. I went to the AMS annual meeting in Atlanta after Snowmageddon hit, and we did this Boy Scout event where we had all these Boy Scout and Girl Scout troops coming in to earn badges. And I asked all those kids, how many of you have toilet paper in your car? And they laughed at me, like, why would we have toilet paper? I said, how many of you had parents stuck on the interstate for more than 8 hours? And suddenly you saw their little faces like the lights came on. Have toilet paper in your car, people. It's important, okay? Questions? Anybody in the audience? All right, well, thank you for this invite to be here. I appreciate all of you, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the presentations.